I can think of only one thing that could lift my spirits right now. Beer.
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 Beer. Beer. Beer.
This is Drink of Ages on ESPN 97.5.
The only show dedicated to craft beer, spirits, and music.
Here's your host and luminary, John Denman.
John Denman.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of Drink of Ages radio show on ESPN 97.5. I'm John Denman, and we got a really fun show lined up. Our music guest for this week's show is Photon Mechanics, and our guest hanging out with me right now from Saint Arnold Brewing Company, Mr. Brock Wagner.
Oh, John, thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you made it out. I know that the past 14, 12 months, whatever, time just doesn't even make sense anymore on how long things have lasted.
What are you talking about? What happened during the last 14 months?
Well, the Astros.
Oh, yeah.
Got for one thing. There was the Astros. This other little thing, man, it wasn't really that big of a deal. But one thing that was really sweet, though, is how you guys were operating, and you quickly converted, which I'm already jumping forward here a little bit, but your beer garden, for one, it's a pretty badass spot.
Thank you.
It's a pretty decent place to go drink a beer in Houston.
That was one of those bucket list things that I always wanted to do, and I get to check that one off. Build beer garden.
You went a little extra with it, though. I mean,
yeah. Hey. Go bigger, stay home. I wanted to create a destination, that people from around Houston, around the state, around the country, around the world would want to come to and drink beer. And that I wasn't driven by the economics of it. I was driven by making a statement and having a lot of fun designing it and executing it, and it's lived up to everything I ever thought it would and more. It's been wonderful.
I remember going to your office, I don't know, I guess it was 3 years ago maybe or something.
Is this when it was still in Lego form?
Yeah, for the most part. And you're like, look at this, John. And you show me some blueprints, and you're describing how it's going to kind of fade away as it gets closer to the end and all this stuff. And you were so excited about it. It made me excited, right? I was like, man, this is going to be pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, it was. We had a great architect on the project, Natalie Appel, and we had landscape architects. The nice part is when you kind of go to people and you say, I want you to use your creative vision. Here's kind of my inspiration, and you don't really limit them. They get into it and put a lot of their own energy and creativity and go a lot further. It was the same thing with the chapels inside the restaurant, where we had artists. We asked them to paint 3 sides of the little chapels, is what we call them, inside. And we just said go about at least 7 feet high, and they all ended up painting all the way, the roof, everything. They're these, and we gave people no direction as to what to do. So the artist just went to town and made these really, immersive art installations that you get to eat inside.
It is really cool because what you're talking about is like the little, kind of like little cutouts in there with tables, and so you're sitting in the restaurant and you've got all this badass artwork.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to do with the beer garden was you can visit it multiple times and experience it in completely different ways. You can kind of keep exploring and finding things. You could sit in the main part of the restaurant, you could sit in a chapel, you could sit outside, you could sit in the covered part, the uncovered part. There's little side rooms in the yew hedges. You could sit in, you could be out in the games area, you could go through the maze. So there's just a lot, and we keep adding things and thinking about additional things that we can do, because we want it to keep evolving at some level as well. So we have tile going in on the floor of the restaurant right now to give it a marble floor to again kind of evoke the small old European church feel. So silver linings of pandemics is you have time to do projects that if you were fully open, you couldn't do.
I mean, there's been several good things that came from the pandemic, and one of them is the beer to go laws.
Yeah.
On top of having some extra time, the TABC is actually changing some laws that are very beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, the beer to go for shipping breweries got changed in 2019, which we were involved in that. Really wanted that to pass. I never thought it would be a significant part of our business. Thank goodness that we got that passed, because that became a critical part of our business during the pandemic and kept our beer garden team in place. But now seeing restaurants and bars being able to do beer, and I may also enjoy margaritas, so getting a really tasty margarita from a restaurant to go is a
Or
pretty
even like for the
wonderful
margarita
thing.
truck these days. They drive by little cocktail trucks.
Yeah, I'm like Pavlov's dog. When I hear him going by, start drooling, run to the curb.
It's only 10 a.m. It's okay. It's just it's legal now.
Hey, it's a pandemic. 10 a.m. What's the issue?
You want to get into all the drinking that happened during the pandemic. That's what we were talking about this earlier. Just like Zoom calls, just made me enjoy bourbon way too much.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's also interesting to see how this month we're really seeing bars and restaurants coming back. Our draft sales are coming back strong. Grocery, which had been so strong during the early parts of the entire pandemic, we're seeing those flatten. So it's interesting from just operating a business standpoint. How do you keep adapting? How do you keep staying ahead of your demand flow? How do you make sure that you're not running out of stock? I mean, every brewery in the country pretty much ended up destroying a lot of kegs of beer last April and May, because we had a lot in the pipeline, and I looked back. Our sales to on-premise in April last year were down 99.5%. I don't know where the 0.5% went.
It's a good question.
So, but the good part is this April we were up something like 25,000%. So, math.
The math checks out. It does. It was really sad to watch so many people and businesses being shut down and all that stuff. Something I did not agree with, and then there was not that I knew any better than the people making the decisions to shut it down, but it's like, man, I just didn't want to see it happen.
Yeah, I think hopefully, if anything, governments and leaders have learned like what was effective, what wasn't effective, and hopefully people will put politics aside and just look at things like masks were really effective. Unfortunately, closing down a lot of restaurants and bars wasn't necessarily effective, but maybe limiting the crowds in some of those places for a period of time was. Not closing stores, that really wasn't effective, which a lot of we didn't see as much of that in Texas, but other parts of the country did. So hopefully we learn and get people to stay smart, and we can not go through this again. And if we do, which I think we have to at some level, 2 years ago, nobody had the concept of a pandemic in anybody's business plan. I think to be reasonable now, we probably have to put about at least a 10% chance that we go through something like this again in the next 5 years. Probably won't look exactly the same, but hopefully we've learned lessons, and we can keep businesses open and operating as well as possible by following the things that work, doing things that work, not doing the things that didn't work.
For you guys, I mean, you will be celebrating 27 years
Let's see, I have to do math. See,
It is.
1994. Yeah, that's 27.
I'm glad you did the math. All right, I was doing it earlier, and I was like, wait, 25th anniversary, because that was a big one for you guys. And,
Yeah, that was fun.
And it was like, that was 1999. So yeah, it was like, well, no, it's already, or whatever, it's 2019. And it's like, man, how many? It's like 2 years. I don't know why that math was really hard, but trying to figure it out. But 27 years.
Yeah, I see photos of me in the early days. I'm like, who is that kid? He's got more hair.
We all used to have more hair. I
Yeah.
remember those days.
See, now I wear a hat. I don't actually care that much about losing hair, but I just don't like getting sunburned on the top of my head.
Well, being as fair-skinned as I am, and yeah, I go through a lot of sunscreen, and hats are my friend. I
Yes.
learned that a long time ago.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm with you. I was like, man, yeah, that's how I look now. I've got a white beard. Can't hide that.
Yeah.
And so, just, whatever, just go natural.
Yeah, everybody's copying you during COVID and growing beards.
There was a lot of the beard game got really big.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. But it was just, I don't know. During COVID is when I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to shave my beard off. And she's like, no, you can't shave your beard off. I'm like, I'm tired of it. I'm going to shave this thing off. And she convinced me to keep it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it tickles a certain way. Or just whatever it is. But I kept it.
You're going to be contrarian, but it looks good on you.
I appreciate it. So we're, guess we already killed a keg here at House of Blues. And so now I had to move to some tasty art car.
You can never go wrong with Art Car.
Well, the good thing is about House of Blues is that they don't do things small either. So it's not a 12-ounce can. It's a 19.2-ounce can.
Yeah, it's what all the kids are drinking these days. That's actually been a big growth area for us, 19.2 cans. So we had to, our packaging team was super excited, when we added yet another size of can to the line, but the sales team loves them, and our customers love them. So
The venues absolutely love them.
yeah, absolutely. You see them, here at House of Blues, Minute Maid, so.
Well, let's take a break and let's listen to some Photon Mechanics. And when we get back, Brock, you have 4 of your lighter beers that you make. And so we're going to go through some of the characteristics and what makes them a little bit different from each other, because they're all completely different beers.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun to see. We have these 4 beers, all look fairly similar. All people would call them kind of a light beer, not low calorie necessarily, but I think they're 4 very distinct beers, come from different beer styles. They have different histories and very distinct flavors. So I enjoy all of them. This is the first time I've done this sort of side by side and kind of talked about all 4 of them together. So I'm looking forward to this.
All right, Brock Wagner is our guest from Saint Arnold Brewing Company. Photon Mechanics, about to play some music. This is Drink of Ages. We'll be right back.
I'm either running away or falling right down on my face. I see them holding my place, and I wonder just what I should say. I know I'm hard to approach with these feelings that I can't contain. I put the world on my shoulders, this burden that I must maintain. I see your venomous tongue, ready to spit lines in all directions. Flashing a smile, and all the while, behind your back is a loaded weapon. You're always hard to approach. You're looking for someone to blame. Why you living this way, girl? Why you living this way? I wish it wasn't the case, but some people struggle to change. I feel it slipping away, this world that I try to embrace. I feel it burning my tongue, these words that I've chosen to say. Why am I pulling these chains, boy? Why am I pulling these chains? Down the shovel, you're digging your own grave. Everybody's moving, but no one going the same way. He's wrong, and she's right. Everybody's faking, they're wearing the disguise. You don't have to like it, but it's all up in your face. All up in your feelings with my opinions and statements. He's fire, and she's nice. Put down your weapons, now wouldn't it be nice? I really got the feeling I really got. And it's feeling the building to the top. Come on, baby, now take a stand. Come on, baby, now take a chance. If you want it now, come be free. Put down the shovel now, come see me. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, this is Shane with New Magnolia Brewing Company. We're a family-owned and operated brewery located at 1616 Bettis Street in the historic Houston Heights. Neighborhood brew pub serving up a high-rotation, high-variety of finely crafted beers, everything from an award-winning American light lager, IPA, funky sours, and European classics like our award-winning Father Bernard's Grodzicki, a 400-year-old Polish smoked wheat ale. Join us this Saturday, May 8th, from 12 to 7 for Crawfish. We're also open Sunday from 12 to 7 for Mother's Day, so bring her on in and make her feel special. Ready to join the New Magnolia Bike and Run Club? Both launch weekly from the brewery. Check Instagram and Facebook for details. Taproom open 7 days a week, plenty of parking, 2 very expansive outdoor seating areas, spacious, indoor taproom, family and dog friendly. Cheers. We hope to see you soon.
Weekends are a great time to check out Megaton Brewing in Kingwood. Jared, Chris, and the gang have created a badass place to kick back and enjoy a few beers. Big stouts, approachable sours, and plenty of hoppy brews are on tap at Megaton. Lots of space to hold your birthday party, corporate outing, or any event in one of the most unique tap rooms in the Houston area. Check them out on social media for their concert and event schedule. Megaton Brewery. Hope to see everyone at the vault. Key T Wellness, our friends down in Dickinson, is where you need to go if you're feeling sluggish, non-energetic, and non-motivated, not just when you're hungover. Get to know your numbers. As we get a little older, our hormone levels change, men and women. Key T Wellness can help. Weight loss, hormone optimization, low testosterone, B12, Botox, and more. Stop in and tell them that you heard it on Drink of Ages and get a free B12 shot. KeyTWellness.com. Why not feel your best again? KeyTWellness.com. Enjoying tonight's show? Have a vision you need to make a reality? Reach out to Hell and High Water Productions. I did. Jason and the crew produce each Drink of Ages YouTube show. Corporate events, concerts, commercials, live streams, they have the skill and technology to make it happen. Come Hell and High Water, they are here to serve you. Give them a call at 832-356-9701. Special announcement from Platypus Brewery. F off, mate. The latest taproom release is an American Hefeweizen that is chalky in appearance, generously dry hopped, imparting citrus and stone fruit flavors in a light and refreshing beer. Very easy on the palate. Also hitting the tap room at Platypus is Rough End of the Pineapple, a pineapple jalapeno sour. It sounds crazy, but it works very well, especially when you pair it with the chicken wings. Food specials all week long, including Chicken Parmy Tuesdays, Surf and Turf Wednesdays, Texas Barbecue Thursdays, and Fish and Chips Fridays. PlatypusBrewing.com, open Tuesdays through Sunday. Have an event in mind and looking for a place that is fun and beer is involved? Host your next event at a brewery. At Spindletap, they have full venue rental and partial rental options that are perfect for company events, birthday parties, weddings, receptions, and more. Host a memorable event at a venue that offers a fun atmosphere and many amenities. Email info@spindletap.com or call 713-325-1477 to get more details.
Song's a real big hit in Argentina. #1 on the pop charts for 32 weeks straight. We can't be played in the United States, though. I don't know. Yeah. Here we go. Got some paper in my pocket with a picture of a dead man. Rolled up, rubber banded like a soda can. Stacked up like a brick, I call it Minecraft. High class like a rope chain bubble bath. I don't really wanna be the one to tell you what you really need to know about the golden rule. Take the gold, baby, break the rules. Ain't even afraid to tell the truth. Make moves, what I really do. Really smooth when I spin it too. Make it shine like a diamond, make it beautiful. Make it shine like a diamond in your mind. On the space between the speakers in your headphones. Dollar signs in your eyes, what you really want. These stacks, greenbacks, what you want from. I don't really understand where you coming from. Work hard, make money, get it done. In the belly of the beast. You're trapped in the belly, can't eat.
All right, we are back. This is Drink of Ages radio show. I'm your host, John Denman. Our guest tonight, Brock Wagner from Saint Arnold Brewing Company. You were just listening to some Photon Mechanics.
That was
badass
awesome.
band. And, man, just look them up online. If you look up Photon Mechanics, you're going to learn a lot, spend some time. Yeah, it's an area of study that a lot of people probably should venture into a little bit. But at Photon Mechanics Band or Photon Mechanics Houston, something like that, and you'll find a lot of their music, and they play some badass stuff.
Really enjoyed them.
So, in front of us now, in front of me now, I'm still working on that 19.2 R car, but you brought out your light hitters.
So it is summer in Houston, and or will be soon, but summer is about 6 months a year here. So over the years, we've done a lot of different styles of beers, and as brewers, we love big beers, we love IPAs, but what we tend to gravitate towards drinking day in, day out tend to be lighter beers, Kolsch's, Helles, Pilsners, and blonde ales. So we now sort of find ourselves with 4 beers out that are all on the light end of the spectrum, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun tonight to go through and taste them and say, hey, you got 4 beers. What's different? They look the same, yet they're not. So I thought we'll just start, kind of do a one by one. So Headliner. So this is a blonde ale. Now, one interesting thing about these beers is they're all, the base malt is Pilsner malt in all of these, although they're not all the same Pilsner malt. We have some American Pilsner malt in 3 of the beers and a German Pilsner malt in the Summer Pils. But just starting with Headliner, this came out last year, right when the pandemic started. We had all these concerts lined up when we were going to roll it out. We got one done, and then everybody shut down. But it's Pilsner malt. We use a London ale yeast. The hops are a German noble hop, Hallertau Herzbrucker, but then we also use Centennial to give it just a little bit of an American citrusy twist to it. Nice, light, easy drinking, no bitter on the finish, just...
Yeah, no bitter, but it's not missing flavor. That's the good thing about it.
No, I mean, 4.2% alcohol. I mean, it's low. It's low calorie, low alcohol, but really has a lot going on. Carlos Hernandez, local artist, he did our Santo label for it. God rest its soul.
Santo was good.
Yeah,
by the way,
did one of the chapels in our beer garden. He designed the can. It's got the big amp on it. But so you start with that. They say, okay, that's nice, that's tasty. So how is Lawnmower?
It's time to bump it up a little bit lighter, but a little bit more.
Yeah, how is Lawnmower different? So, look, color-wise, pretty close to the same. Now, Lawnmower is a Kolsch, so we use German ale yeast in this one. It's about 92% Pilsner malt, and then the other 8% is malted wheat. And this beer is 100% Herzbrucker hops. So bittered, finished. It actually has a lot of hops going on in it, but the hops being that they are Herzbrucker, which have very low alpha acids, low oil content, they tend to be very, they don't impart a lot of flavor. So we had to use a lot to get the flavor that we wanted. To me, this beer has this really nice berry floral aroma from the Herzbrucker hop.
How long have you been brewing Lawnmower? How long have you been brewing Lawnmower?
We came out with Lawnmower in, I think, 2001, so 20 years. It is two decades of Lawnmower. So again, kind of go back and forth between Headliner and Lawnmower. Get a little bit of a biscuity malt in the Headliner. Lawnmower, I get much more floral characteristics to it, so maybe a tad creamier. But again, they're very different beers. And we're talking about subtleties here. This isn't like having a Pilsner and a stout.
Right,
but
right.
You're also not going to confuse the two. You're not going to say, yeah, that's the same beer in two. It's not like Duff's light, Duff's dry, Duff's...
That's true. The way that the Headliner drinks a little bit, I don't know, Lawnmower just goes down easy. Maybe because it reminds me of the last 20 years of drinking Lawnmower, whereas Headliner is still new for beers that I've been drinking.
Yeah, Headliner to me is like, you just put it on ice. It's 100 degrees outside. It is going to be a tasty damn beer. I actually feel the same way about Lawnmower. But to me, Lawnmower has a little bit more complexity in it with the hop character in it. It just hits on a few more notes. But they're both really good in their own ways. So now if you want to move towards the next one, so Summer Pills. The name is Summer Pills. I would really classify it almost more of a Munich Helles style. It's got a little bit more hops. It's a lager. We use the Bavarian lager yeast in it. The hops are we start with the Hallertau, but the Herzbrucker, but we finish with Saaz.
See, this beer makes my golf game better. Is what it does. It's one of those that, after like the third or fourth one, my shots are straighter, my putts are going in. This is that beer.
Well, I'm glad to hear it does that for you. For me, it just makes me not care that my shots might be sliced more and my putts, God knows where they go. But this beer to me is like transports me to an Augustiner beer hall in Munich, and it's probably not a complete coincidence because Augustiner is a brewery, which is one of my favorite breweries in the world. They use Herzberger hops, which I only discovered that after we got turned on to Herzberger, and we're using them in all of our beers. We're one of the largest purchasers of Herzberger hops in the U.S., if not the largest. So now we've moved from the first two are in the ale category, actually an English ale yeast and a Kolsch ale yeast. Now we're to a lager yeast. So H-Town is going to use the same lager yeast as Summer Pils, but this to me, as opposed to being kind of a Munich Helles, is going to be more of a true Czech Pils. By the way, with Summer Pils, people have wondered, we've won many Great American Beer Festival medals for Summer Pils.
Many.
In the Munich Helles category.
Yes.
Because that's what it is.
If any of you noticed, when did the calendar, was that like 2 years ago the calendar came out?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was such a great photo of Brock, maybe naked, wearing a whole lot of medals.
Fortunately, Aaron was holding one of our awards very strategically placed. Let's just leave it at that. But so H-Town Pils, this is an evolution of our brewing Czech style Pils. And the first one really Summer Pils kind of started in the very early years. I was trying to kind of channel Czech Pils, but I found that I was settling a little more on the Munich Helles. And the Summer Pils recipe, we came out with that beer in 1997, and we tweaked it up until 2011. Whereas like Lawnmower has been exactly the same its whole life. Amber Ale has been exactly the same. Well, actually, batch 1 of Amber Ale was different from batch 2 of Amber Ale. But since batch 2, it's been the same. But H-Town Pils really started with the Icon series when we did the Bohemian Pils in that series. Then we tweaked that, came out with 5 o'clock Pils. We like that, but there's still some things that, to me, we could improve on. And then, so we discontinued that. With H-Town, it is exactly what I want it to be. I want to drink this beer every day for the rest of my life. And we do a decoction mash on the Pilsner malt. It is Saaz hops all the way throughout. If you're wondering one of the differences between 5 o'clock and H-Town, we did a little dry hop of Saaz hops in 5 o'clock, which isn't traditional. With H-Town, everything, all the hops go into the kettle. And
this one, well, for one, we already floated one keg here tonight because it's way too easy to drink. All these beers are very easy to drink, but as you're talking, each one has little subtle differences. The first two, the body is a little bit heavier. The second two is a little lighter and a little more crisp. And this H-Town Pils, though, this might turn into my new shotgunning beer.
Yeah, it's gone into my heavy rotation. It's doing really well all over town. Obviously, we only sell it in H-Town. We haven't ventured out with this beer anyplace else.
I think it's time to take over. Like this beer needs to go to Dallas and become like the biggest beer in Dallas.
Well, I do know some people in Austin who've driven down here, picked it up, and taken it back because they can't get it in Austin. But it's just fun drinking all these beers and seeing how different they are. But the nice thing is they're all tasty You don't have to think about them all the time when you're drinking them, but this is a nice little intellectual exercise to go through.
I feel smarter, by going through all 4 of these beers.
You look smarter, too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, speaking of being smarter, it's about time to listen to some more Photon Mechanics.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Brock Wagner is our guest. This is Drink of Ages. Stay tuned.
Yo, shit. Yo, we sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They bumping screw with the crew and getting volatile. I'm sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They bumping screw, yo. They bumping screw, yo. I'm sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. I'm sitting in the sun. My description, I flip the script and it's viscous. Slicker than the grease in the 3-piece chicken and biscuit. Shit is getting vicious in this risky business. So don't be losing the grip or your neck's on the shit list. While I be filling them full of lead from the middle of my pencil. Cause 90% of the time, man, the game is half mental. I enter the dragon, enter the room, enter the mind of a killer on shoot. With the doomsday device script, hold across the globe. Control through these speakers, speaking to these assholes. And I'm throwed in the game, I'm so incredible. And I be jamming on the one like I'm Theo Huxtable. Now I'm on another level, on another plane. Like Charlie Sheen, I'm obscene when I do my thing. Picking reins, pushing up against the grain of my steering wheel. I'm bumping school when I'm cruising and I do it with sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They moving school. They bumpin' school, sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They bumpin' school, sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They bumpin' school. Oh, 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 what a shame. All I have in this world is my balls and my name, so I'm not throwed out the game. Unless the referee throw me out of the game. What's an MC gotta do to get paid to entertain? Put a wrinkle in your brain, exchange and rearrange your thought process to make you go insane. And now we pause for the Cosby Show. I plant a seed up in your brain and kick back and watch it grow. Cause I'm throwed in the game, I'm so incredible. But let me get to the point like a fucking decimal. Yo, my name is Mike, I'm not your average type of fella. I can rock the mic and I can rock it a cappella. I can rock these beats, I can walk these streets, eating Rocky Road, watching rockets off TV while I be sitting in the sun, shit, jamming on the one. I'm straight staring at the sun, boy, jamming on the one. Let's go, sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They bumpin' school, yo. They bumpin' school, yo. Sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. They bumpin' school, they bumpin' school, yo. Sitting in the sun, simmer in the summertime. I'm sitting in the sunshine, jamming on the one. Let's go.
Hi, this is Casey from Your Cat's Brewing Company. We're going to take a break from John talking to you about beer for me to talk to you about beer. It's pretty much the same, except my beard isn't nearly as awesome. Here at Your Cat's Brewing Company, we've been making interesting and approachable craft beer right here in Houston since 2016. That means we're basically old enough to drink in dog years. Brewing up everything from crisp and refreshing Buffalo Buddy Cream Ale to hoppy and tropical mini box IPA and brand new Un Poquito Más, our summer seasonal is a German-style Kolsch brewed with a ton of lime Pyrenees and pink Himalayan sea salt. It's a perfect beer for sweating uncontrollably. Look for it all over Houston. Cheers.
You may have noticed there have been quite a few changes at No Label, and they are steadily pumping out tasty brews. With their new head brewer, Trailer, bringing in his West Coast brewing skills, taps have been flowing with lots of hoppy deliciousness like Cali Boy West Coast IPA. I'm real excited about what they're doing on the west side. Tap room is open 7 days a week, very family and dog friendly. Make the short trip to Katy and see what is happening at No Label. Follow them on social media for events and beer releases. No Label Brewing Company. Fresh off the canning line at True Anomaly is Go Flight with 4-packs available now. This is a hazy IPA through and through with loads of soft and juicy tropical fruit flavors contributed from the Mosaic, Citra, and Galaxy hops. If you're heading out to watch the Astros, Rockets, or Dynamo, stop by for a beer before the game. True Anomaly is walking distance from all the stadiums. Don't have a ticket? Come and watch the games in the tap room. Trivia every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. and DJ Cherry Like Bounce is there Thursdays to help bring in the weekend and get the new beer pouring strong. You can book the barrel room at True Anomaly for your next special event. They can also accommodate business meetings and happy hours. Check out their website for a booking link, trueanomalybrewing.com. Valentin's Brewery is a small but growing family-owned nano brewery in Pearland, Texas, making award-winning beers in all different styles. Always something new to try on tap. Bring the family and the dogs while enjoying the spacious backyard while the new tap room is being built. If you're into the sour stuff, Valentin's is releasing 2 Berliners, a pear and an apple. These beers are like adult Gatorades. Make the short drive to Valentin's and try some award-winning, very tasty brews. Valentins.com, VALLENSONS.com.
Hey, this is Blake Harris, the general manager at Rudyard's British Pub. Just want to invite you guys out to our Thursday night steak and pint night. It's $25 for a 16-ounce New York strip, party potatoes, Caesar salad, and a free pint. As well, starting at 7 o'clock, we've got $4 pints all night long. Right now, we're doing about 20 on draft, and in the near future, we will be increasing that number. So come check us out. We're at 2010 Wall Drive in Montrose.
Ready? Yeah. Check it. Woo! It's a pedigree of integrity. Living life in the feet of it, then set it free. I'm just playing, understand anything. Anything to keep your brain entertained, but you better come to grips with it. Living life as expected and infinite. Now I'm living in the cemetery, the synergy. In the vicinity of enemies are gonna be one with the universe, come off with the universe. Kind of church, called molecular dispersion. Smashing that back through the black day, put it back together, kick back and relax, cause the potential was exceptional. Travel through the message while I'm resting on the sectional. It's a martial art, living well for your benefit, for the betterment of everything. Come again, let it breathe, let it breathe. Take it easy, let it breathe, let it breathe.
Hi, this is Drink of Ages radio show. I'm your host, John Denman. Brock Wagner from Saint Arnold Brewing Company is our guest. You were listening again to some Photon Mechanics. And Brock, we went through 4 of the light beers. I feel like we're about to really flip the script and go much larger ABVs.
A bit.
Just a bit?
Just a bit. So we're going from sort of the 4.2 to 5% range to 13%.
That's a good number.
So it's a subtle climb, but
it's like a shot, like shooting out a cannon climb.
Well, shock the palate. But this is the first time that so we're getting a little preview. This beer is coming out later this month. It'll be available, of course, at our beer garden, but it'll also be available out in the market at grocery and liquor stores, bars and restaurants. This beer is our old-fashioned, so it's got a nice sort of 60s kind of admin,
a little wallpaper look to it,
label to it. And it is a barley wine that we aged in rye whiskey barrels and with a little orange peel in it, like a nice old-fashioned. And I tasted the test brews. I tasted some as it was aging in the barrels. This is actually going to be, for me, the first time I've tasted this when it was done and packaged. So, l'chaim.
Cheers. Just when it hits your nostrils, you know you're about to drink something.
Yeah, you get that barley wine as the base. You know, to me, it's really nice when you can taste the base beer in a barrel-aged beer. But the rye whiskey barrels really gives it a nice spice to it. And God, the finish, with the finish, I just get this warm caramel. It's like caramel whiskey chocolate. And then the orange is like a secret ingredient in there.
Yeah, the orange hits at first, and then you get the chocolate. The chocolate really hits at the end, and it just kind of coats your mouth. That's pretty damn tasty.
Yeah, our team, the stuff that comes out of our barrel room, yeah, I may be biased, but I really believe it is second to none in any place. They're smooth, they're easy drinking, they're well-rounded. You know, we age in barrels much longer than most breweries do, because when you age for too short of a period of time, the spirit taste is often kind of sharp. And by letting it sit longer, it mellows, all the flavors integrate, and you get this balance with really interesting accents in the flavors. You know, one of my goals with any beer, whether it's Headliner or Lawnmower or Old Fashioned, is I want you to be able to drink a pint or a bottle or whatever it's coming in, and when you're done with it, you're sad. You want another. And I feel like we have achieved that with all of these beers, you know, even with Commitment, which so.
I think if you know, a couple of these right here will put me in a really good spot. I don't think it's a sad spot though. That's what I'm saying.
No, it is. These are beers for global pandemics. So, you know, with a barrel aged beer, you expect to see something that's pretty high proof. So 12.9% where this came in, you're like, okay, I see that. I mean, that's still a pretty beefy beer, even for barrel aged. And, you know, if I do say so myself, easy drinking for 12.9%.
I will say that as well.
So now we're going to go to a beer that is not barrel aged and is actually 13.5%. And brewing this is pretty tricky, because if you put yeast, if you just make a wort, you know, the unfermented beer that has the potential to go to 13.5%, you put yeast in it, we're going to get a little sciencey here, but the osmotic pressure of the sugar crushes the yeast. It kills the yeast. The yeast just won't ferment. So there's a real technique, and we do kind of a stepped fermentation and have to add sugar as we're going to get a beer that's at this level. But Commitment here, which will pour a nice syrupy blackness, this, again, to make a beer like this that comes out is complex and full-bodied, yet balanced and easy to drink, is really a testament to the talents of our brewing team, which my hat's off to them. I'll put our brewers up against anybody. I get this almost molasses flavor in there. There's no molasses in here. Now, there is Belgian candy syrup. That's how we kind
There's
of
a little sweetness.
That's how we boost the gravity as it's fermenting. And
this is a dessert beer. Pour this over some vanilla ice cream.
Oh, for sure.
And life gets much, much better. But it is actually just standalone. It's ridiculous, man. This is really, really good.
Yeah, this to me is a hidden treasure. You know, we come out with it once a year. This is also a beer that you can age. And, you know, something I do try to stress to people, if you're going to cellar beers, keep them cold. Don't just stick them in a closet warm. They won't age well that way. But if you keep them cold, you know, this is a beer that is going to hold for, you know, a couple, 3 years. I mean, it'll go 5+ years, but, you know, it'll keep developing and changing and evolving. And you can kind of find the sweet spot that you like this beer.
This is, I don't know, Brock. I can tell you, I mean, we went from light to, you know, a little bit darker to this in the show, and this is your spectrum of brewing at Saint Arnold. I think the beers are starting to really, the ABVs are starting to kick in a little bit.
They'll do that. Yeah, I mean, we are always playing around with stuff. We have R&D meetings every Thursday morning. We're tasting new beers. Yeah, we've did ciders starting a couple years ago. Yeah, we did seltzers. We came out with our superfine seltzer, which is super fine, and but we're doing it a completely different way than any seltzer that I've seen on the market so far, which is we are using 0 flavor extracts in our seltzer. We start with a sugarcane base to ferment, but then while it's fermenting, we are adding real fruit puree, fruit peel. Those are the only flavorings that we're using. So we're actually using the real fruit, letting those fruits ferment. So we're still achieving the low calories and carbs and those things that seltzer people seem to like. But people will also notice that our seltzers have color, and that's just because we're using fruit.
Real fruit.
Yeah, we're not adding color. That's just the fruit.
And Brock, you've had a brewery now for, what do we figure?
27
years now is what you've had a brewery.
I was born in the summer of my 27th year, coming home to a place I've never been before. Sorry. Little John Denver for you.
Just a little John Denver. Hey, that guy's full of shit.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. But no, man, I mean, you've had a brewery for 27 years. And back in the original time when you were over off, a whole different location, 290 area over there, to where you are now, man. I mean, like looking back, what do you think you've accomplished? What do you think you missed out on? Like what has happened?
Yeah, I don't feel like I've missed out on anything. I feel like I've been the luckiest guy in the world. Got to do what I love. Wake up every morning. Look forward to going to work. We helped create a craft beer market in Texas because it did not exist when
you pioneered the
Saint
craft beer
Arnold.
market in Texas.
Yeah, I have to remind people, we were not the first craft brewery in Texas. We are the oldest craft brewery in Texas because we outlived everybody else. And it was tough going in the early years, but after 12 years, we were an overnight success. So, but it's fun. I mean,
that needs to be a T-shirt, by the way.
I mean, I've made a ton of friends through this. We have people who've been with us, customers who've been with us for 27 years, people that customers that we've picked up in the last year, and they're all really important to us. We still are out there evangelizing great beer. We're still out there trying to push things, come up with new things to do, experimenting. Yeah, there is no finish line in this, but you want to do stuff that you're passionate about. We're passionate about craft beer, and we're just trying to share that with everyone. And I think that's something that's also important to us, is trying to make the world of craft beer broader and more diverse and more inclusive. And that's not something you do overnight. It's just you keep at it, and you just it's part of your principles and who you're about, and it's fun. That's all I can say.
One of my favorite Brock stories, I've got a couple of them, but one of them was, I don't even remember why I was calling you, but there was a reason that I needed to call you and ask you a question. And you answered the phone, you're like, "Hey, John, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, I have a question." He goes, "Oh, is it going to be a long one? Because, give me, a couple minutes." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I hear shuffling, all these noises and everything. About a minute and a half goes by. You're like, "Okay, yeah, what's going on?" I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, "I just got off a ski lift." I'm like, "Brock, you didn't have to answer my phone call, but I appreciate it. It was awesome."
Multitasking,
indeed. Well, if you've never been out to Saint Arnold, if you're one of the few that hasn't been out there, come check them out. It is it's a destination spot here in Houston. Excellent food, excellent beers, beautiful view of the city, and you built the whole area around you into. You created this whole thing that never existed before, and it's great for everyone in the community, great for everybody in the city of Houston.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's been fun revitalizing the near north side where we're located, and we have another brewery, local group right by us now, and you just see the area changing. Breweries can make a difference, and we often locate breweries in areas, because land is cheap. It's a low margin business, but they bring a lot to the community, and I think that's a wonderful thing about the world of craft brewing. I also think that these are very sage words that I'm reading on the bottom of our bottle cap. Fear no beer.
Fear no beer. No, Brock, appreciate you hanging out, man. It's been a lot of fun. I've missed you. Haven't seen you very much over the last year, so it's good to get back and have some beers with you. Thank you for bringing these, your old-fashioned commitment. Those two. As soon as you see them out there, go buy and get some.
Oh yeah, they're yummy. The commitment came out earlier this year. I think it's probably gone most places. You may be able to scrounge some up in a few locations, but look for Old Fashioned later this month.
That Old Fashioned, it's dangerous.
You're supposed to plug your YouTube station, by the way.
Thank you, Brock, for pointing this out. You can watch all these shows that we do on our YouTube channel, Drink of Ages. Just go to YouTube, Drink of Ages. Man, that's what makes this guy amazing. He's not just worried about himself, man. He's looking out for everybody else around him. Brock, cheers, buddy.
Hey, John, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Great having beers with you.
Very good having beers with you. Next week, we will be back over here at House of Blues with Baba Brew House, and our music guest is the Journey Agents. But we're going to end the night listening to some more Photon Mechanics. This is Drink of Ages. Talk to everybody next week.
Photon Mechanics, here to do the dang thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Let's bypass everything. Yo. Check. I'm a time killer, my rhymes killers like 9mm bullets that trigger. I pull it Glock cockpit, make contact with brain matter. Now your mind's blown in your headphones, the window pane shattered from the sound waves that reverberate and explode when I come to grips with the microphone. Cause I'm a master of ceremonies, mover of crowds, but mostly an MC. I'm like cumulus clouds, cause I'm told I can number this with the best. I'm synonymous. I'm not a writer, I'm a columnist. Could I put the facts down when I lay the track down? My attacker say to put the smack down on these haters. Fake thugs, take thugs, play dumb. Oh, hater, say some, trying to make me man. You won't do anything but make me laugh. Cause I'm thinking this, I'm feeling in this space. Not a friend or a villain, I'm a face. In the crowd, getting loud. Got a chip on my shoulder and a prayer. Cause I'm thinking this, I'm feeling in this space. Not a friend or a villain, I'm a face. In the crowd, getting loud. Get. Wanted to come get it. I hit him when I spit it in the middle of instrumentals and kick it like I'm addicted to beats. The pens pushing the rhymes written. Clock's ticking, the plot's sticking, I'm hot sticking. Clock's still ticking and I'm sitting thinking I could be tricking and politicking, but it's back to the lab. Scratching on the wax and rap wicked. Master the craft, the gift, the gap biggin'. Pop a little nines, be pulling among many who inspired me to be a pretty sweet MC. See, we're older now, we're holding it down. We're born busy and these folks is grown, you know they holding it down with me. For my people, the brown brethren blessed with the melanins. Mexicans and the African Americans born with the blood of kings, mingling in the toes of the chosen. Thinking this, I'm feeling in the space. Not a friend or a villain, I'm a face. In the crowd, getting loud. Got a chip on my shoulder and I'm proud. Cause I'm thinking this, I'm feeling in the space. Not a friend or a villain, I'm a face. In the crowd, getting loud. Get down now. Who wants a piece of me? You'll be deleted easily, immediately seated in the VC2 is greeted. I ain't greedy, but I needed this victory. I want this money, want this city, with this world that make it gritty. I ain't kidding, man, I'll take it all. I'll take it all, cause I don't want anyone giving me anything out of pity. I'll be getting rid of you idiots if I spit it insidiously. Are you getting any of this really? Are you getting this seriously? It's serious if you're curious, furiously defeating MC after MC, they all fall like the bricks on the walls of Jericho. Please don't mistake my kindness for weakness, cause your weakness is blindness. Mine is unviolent, so let's put this behind us, cause you can't ride with the finest. You're a deficit minus while I am riding like Midas with the platinum touch. Cause I'm thinking this, I'm feeling in the space. Not a friend or a villain, I'm a face. In the crowd, getting loud. Got a chip on my shoulder and I'm proud. Cause I'm thinking this, I'm feeling in the space. Not a friend or a villain, I'm a face. In the crowd, getting loud. Get down.
John Bargerstock from KT Wellness is back with us. And John, tell us how testosterone replacement therapy can be beneficial for those who need it.
Great question. Well, a lot of guys think that it's just treating an area below the belly button region, but actually what it is treating area from head to toe. There's a lot of, symptoms that can creep up over the years because of the deficiency, but really what it helps is a multitude of things. It helps us with our mental clarity and staying focused throughout the day. It helps us avoid fatigue and be energetic throughout the day. Of course, it helps our libido and performance in the bedroom. There's studies that show it's great for the heart. It has a multitude of benefits, and of course there are risks, but the benefits far outweigh those risks.
So that's what you guys do at Key T, though. You can come in, get your numbers tested, and see if you're actually a good candidate for this.
Yep. Actually, we make sure everybody qualifies for treatment before we offer that treatment. We don't just allow anyone to come in off the street and get testosterone therapy. It is a therapy, which means we bring people back to normalized, and I like to use the word optimized levels, not just normalized levels. So if they're deficient, we check their number. We verify that with a blood test. There has to be presence of symptoms. And then we put those two pieces of information and decide whether or not this person is a good candidate for treatment.
Well, that's fantastic, because John and I, we kind of share birthdays. He's one day before, and we just had it. And so we're getting older, and things aren't, it's not
recovery
quite like
time is not as quick as it used to be.
No, of course. But no, it's it's something every guy should know their number, where they are now, because with each decade of life, our levels drop anywhere from 10 to 20%. So it's a pretty drastic change, once you hit your late 30s and beyond.
Well, you can find out more information at keytwellness.com, and this portion of the show, the Men's Health Minute, is sponsored by Key T Wellness. Unlock your potential.
Thanks, John, for having me.